Speaker has been chosen, committees populated, and chairperson selected. Now, the work begins, and there's plenty of work. The federal government reached its borrowing limit. The war in Ukraine rages on. The economic outlook is not rosy. The border isn't really a border, and both the current and immediate past presidents are under special counsel investigation. Speaking of investigations, each branch is empowered to conduct their own. The judicial branch is investigating the leak of a draft opinion. The executive branch is investigating both Biden and Trump. Congress will soon be investigating too. Congress creates agencies, dismantles agencies, and funds agencies. Therefore, Congress is empowered to provide oversight and scrutiny over those agencies. But what happens when the branches do not cooperate with one another? What happens when one branch investigates another or tries to? Joining us now is former Deputy Assistant Attorney General, Professor John Yoo. Okay, Professor, let's start with the latest. More classified documents found in either the actual or constructive possession of Joe Biden. The media tells us how very different Biden's facts are from Trump's. You're a really highly trained lawyer. Do you see distinctions, and do those distinctions make any legal difference to you?
Trey, great to be with you again. The first thing we should keep in mind is both Biden and Trump would be, if the facts bear out, potentially in violation of the same federal law for the same activity, holding in an unauthorized way classified documents, the release of which could damage the national security. And so the rule of law and the Constitution demands that similar cases be treated in a similar way. Now, there are some differences. First of all, with Biden, we don't even know what all the facts are yet. Every time it sounds like his lawyers or the FBI or someone from the White House counsel's office takes a look somewhere where Biden has a property, they find more classified documents. So we still don't even know the full story there. President Trump also kept documents, too. One thing that is different is that sounds like so far President Trump has had a lot more. And, of course, President Trump fought more with the government in terms of turning them over. On the other hand, what we need to know is what was the harm to the national security? Where did these documents, where were they all this time? How did they get there? And most important, from a damage perspective, who had access to them? It might be the case that Trump's holding the documents is less of a harm to the national security. They seem to be in a locked basement room with cameras and personnel on them, whereas Biden's are next to his car in a locked garage in one place, and then in a locked closet in another place, and then in his home in another place. That might be more of a threat to national security because more people might have had access to them.
Yeah, you know, Professor, you raise a fascinating point. I want to know what the documents were, because sometimes if I could see the nature of the document, maybe I could figure out what the motive would have been, whether it's to keep mementos and trinkets or whether it's to write a book, hypothetically. Sometimes it can lead to the motive, but I want to switch to something else. All right, Congress has the power to investigate, but that does not mean others will cooperate. DOJ, where you worked, will not discuss ongoing investigations like the Trump or Biden cases. So if Congress is going to say, we want to talk to you about ongoing investigations, they're not going to do it. So where does this fight get resolved?
Trey, I agree with you. And what you said in your lead-in was that Congress has to reassert its own power investigation. They need to get to the bottom of this. They're the only ones who can make sure that the Trump and Biden cases are treated fairly and equally. They can hire their own investigators. If they really want to go far, they could offer both Biden and Trump immunity and say, look, if you fully cooperate, give us all the facts, we'll give you immunity from prosecution. I actually think it's more important now to worry less about prosecution than to figure out why does this keep happening? Because we should also mention a third person who I think went far beyond either of these cases in their violation of the handling of classified information and the harm to our national security, which was Hillary Clinton, who was running all the classified emails from the State Department through her, that went to her through a private, unsecured computer server. So let Congress have an investigation of all three of those cases. Let's get the facts, and then the Justice Department will have to be sure that they're treating all the cases fairly.
All right, Professor, we got about a minute. So before I let you go, Congress has the power to subpoena documents and witnesses, but they can't make people come, and contempt comes from the executive branch, criminal contempt. So in reality, I mean, what can Congress do to compel cooperation, even if they do want to investigate?
That's a great question, Trey, also, because as you said, ultimately to force compliance with a congressional subpoena, the Justice Department, who works for Merrick Garland, who works for President Biden, has to be willing to bring contempt prosecutions. And I'm not that confident that this Justice Department would do those fairly and evenly without regard to partisan bias. We've seen cases in the past, for example, under President Obama, where contempt citations were not prosecuted against Democratic office holders. And so you're right. The only thing Congress can do is bring it to the public and say, you, the voters, you decide in 2024, you decide in 2026 whether this matters to you and whether the government is acting fairly when it treats similar cases. It should treat them the same.
The biggest jury of all, the public. Professor John Yoo, thank you so much for joining us on a Sunday night and loaning us your legal expertise.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.